Salutations, my Legion of Doom. This is your Time Lord wannabe, the Brainstormer of pop culture. Yes, I'm continuing the series of my version of the DC Comics Cinematic Shared Universe, or as I call it, the DC Comics Movieverse, DCMV for short. So this is the second in my video series. Obviously, making the second movie be about one of the more versatile characters in the DC universe. Yes, obviously I'm talking about the Batman. I admit he is one of my favorite superheroes, so this one I'll be very passionate about. So this Batman is more different than most others that have appeared in film. FYI, no origin. Most everybody is born knowing who Batman is, so no origin. Okay, so now in order for you to kind of understand my interpretation, I have to give you some history on this guy. So, this Batman in the DCMV has been Batman for only 10 years. 2 years into being Batman, Dick Grayson's Robin is introduced. And another year after that, Batgirl comes onto the scene. Then at 5 years of Batman's career, Dick Grayson leaves. Following that, Bruce Wayne recruits Jason Todd as the second Robin. So, during the 7th year, Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl, is shot and crippled by the Joker. This sparks Batman and Robin to go on a manhunt. Year 8, the Joker captures the second Robin, Jason Todd, and violently beats the boy to death. In the 9th year, Joker is apprehended, but not without new scars. So, we come to the present, where Bruce has pretty much lost the will to fight. He's a broken recluse now. Really, it's only him and Alfred now. He's cut all other ties. So, for half of the first act is how his life is isolated. So we see, like, the Jason Todd suit scratched up, with old blood staining it. Most of the time we see Bruce looking at it with sadness and contempt. So the story goes that Bruce left the Playboy life behind and just becoming a businessman now. When he sees the bat signal now, he does nothing, just tries to sleep at nights now. Only when a chemical bomb is detonated does this make the man spring into action. So we see the first look at Batman as he meets Gordon on the roof of GCPD. Gordon explains the situation about how a group of people were murdered in the explosion, holding items like a rabbit's foot, poker cards that had only hearts on them, and a tea set. Both detectives give each other a look, and Gordon pulls out a photo of one Jervis Tetch, aka Mad Hatter. But this isn't his MO, Batman would say. Gordon would just respond with, "The game's always changing." So now we have Bruce in the Batcave studying all the evidence, with Alfred being there, aiding him. Now, the second half of the first act is basically Batman being a shadow, frightening criminals into talking. We don't really see the Bat, just shadows and figures. As the information is slowly given to us, Batman and the audience show the setup of Mad Hatter's plan. We end the first act with Batman knowing the location of the next dirty bomb site, Metropolis. So the second act begins with Bruce and Alfred figuring out how to be in Metropolis without questions being raised. Alfred brings up that Bruce Wayne was invited to a friend's wedding. A perfect cover. Bruce just shrugs and says, "Lex just gave that out as a formality. He doesn't expect me to come." Alfred just shrugs back, basically emoting to give it a try. So Bruce picks up the phone and speaks to the guy on the other end, saying how he'll be there for the wedding. He'll be there early to greet everyone and all that. Alfred says he'll get a suit pressed. Well, Bruce goes sees Lucius Fox about some equipment. Now we're at Wayne Enterprises building, where we meet Lucius Fox, who in my mind, this is a bit of fan casting, would be Idris Elba. I just love the actor. So, we get introduced to two new gadgets. An improved claw hook, where it can hold about a metric ton, while also having a fast firing and recall line. The other piece is a sonic pulse grenade, but only one because it's still in its prototype phase. Now we cut to Alfred and Bruce on their private jet heading to Metropolis. Alfred mentions about how they should worry about the Guardian in Metropolis. Bruce just retorts with how they don't have to worry about the Boy Scout. Just get Tetch and get out. So Bruce and Alfred head to the Wayne Tech Industries in Metropolis, where the secret sub-level 4 is a secondary bat cave. But it's really just an advanced storage area where a lot of Batman equipment is locked up. So they start printing all of the data they gathered on the computer, and it starts processing it, and in time give an accurate guess of where the Mad Hatter is. In the meantime, Alfred says, I do believe that Bruce Wayne has a rehearsal to attend. Do give Mr. and Mrs. Luthor my love, will you? Bruce just smirks and walks away. So we finally cut to a small warehouse with a big bomb behind a large, elegant chair. Large dining table with a very large tea set spread out. A bunch of men in tactical gear wearing masks that show the face of Alice in Wonderland characters like the Cheshire Cat, the White Rabbit, the Queen of Hearts, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, also the Caterpillar and the Dormouse. All sitting at the table. The Mad Hatter walks to the elegant table while performing a monologue to Alice about how the mean and nasty world took her away from him and how he's going to make the mean and nasties pay. We then see the Mad Hatter sit down. I turn to the camera and see a girl mannequin dressed like Alice on the end of the table, at the other end of the table. So we cut to Bruce walking down a tunnel, a tiny silver sliver of light in front of him. He hears his name being called by a voice he hasn't heard in 2 years. Bruce then charges down the tunnel, the light becoming blinding. Until finally we see Bruce looking at something in front of him. We only see flashes of a blood-splattered R with a mask covering dead eyes. Bruce wakes up with a jolt, seeing him in his hotel room lying next to a supermodel. The sun is slowly rising to dawn. He checks his phone, seeing a text from Alfred, saying that the computer has given us 2 possible locations for the bomb to be detonated. Again, cut to Bruce entering the secondary Batcave with Alfred dozing off. Bruce shakes him awake, hands him a coffee, with Bruce saying that Alfred should get some rest. Alfred remarks that for the last 10 years they've both become more of night people, and that Bruce shouldn't be lecturing him on taking better care of oneself. So the first location is an abandoned port near the slums of Metropolis. So as the sun still rises, Batman heads to the port again. We only have shadowy impressions showing the Batman. Another thing is we have first-person POV showing the detective vision. Batman finds a little pool of liquid and scans it, finding a mixture of the right stuff for a bomb, but they can track the chemical signature of the bomb. So as the sun rises even more, we see him go to the secondary location, which is a frequent train station of Metropolis Metro. It's bustling with people starting and ending their work shifts. Up above, we see the shadowy figure watching at the station, watching down below. So then we see an odd homeless man wearing a rabbit mask and a stopwatch. Batman notices a single dead man switch in the homeless man's other hand. Batman soars down to the streets below, fast enough to where he just is a black blur. The homeless man is then tackled through glass of the station. Obviously, Batman is able to defuse the suicide vest, also removing the mind control mask that the homeless man was wearing. Before Batman can ask him any questions, police sirens close in, and Batman grapples out of here. Again, we return to the secondary Batcave where Bruce is changing into some gym clothes. Alfred runs a chemical scan that runs the chemical scans that Bruce took, and has the computer develop a scanning algorithm to track the bomb. In the meantime, Bruce trains by lifting weights and working out, so, just to show his pure physical stature of Bruce Wayne. So we then cut to Mad Hatter and like 5 of his henchmen carry a bomb into an old center of a subway tunnel. And Mad Hatter seems very giddy with excitement, saying the festivities are going to be wonderful. Again, we cut back to Bruce getting dressed for a wedding. He's struggling with his tie, and Alfred helps him with it. Then we have a very character-building scene that cements the father-son relationship between Bruce and Alfred, where Alfred basically says that Bruce needs to enjoy the time with Lex, his friend, and suggests that he should use that moment of happiness as a way to reconnect with old friends, i.e. Dick and Barbara. Bruce doesn't really give an answer. He just tells Alfred to let him know when the algorithm finds something. Bruce then drives off towards church where the wedding is being held. After that, we do a cut of Alfred watching the computer in his secondary Batcave. It's quite, it's very quiet anticipation for it to happen. Then suddenly there's a sharp ding, and Alfred looks at the computer. We then cut to Bruce outside with many others waving at an unseen newly wedded couple enter a limo and drive off. Bruce then gets the voice of Alfred in his ear. Alfred begins going on a rant about how the bomb is at the reception hall underneath it. Bruce is then speeding to the access point into where the location of the bomb is. Another then is that Alfred mentions on a body that was identified in the Gotham bombing, a girl who is known as Alice, a companion of Tetch. So practically everything starts to click now about why Jervis is doing all this. He lost someone and the loss broke him. So Bruce makes it to the entrance and opens a secret compartment in his car to show the bat symbol on his suit. Now we cut to the Mad Hatter having a henchman arm the bomb. So next thing we see is the sonic pulse grenade thrown into the tunnel center, and boom! A blinding light and a high-pitched whine slowly die down to reveal the Batman in his full costume. At first, Batman tells the Mad Hatter to shut it down. Jervis refuses. Batman tells Jervis about Alice and tries to tell him that he doesn't need to do this, but Jervis just says that the world took her love from him, and I'll take her love from this world. Before Jarvis could push the button, Batman uses grapple to pull Jarvis away. After that, it's a quick fight where Batman throws the henchman around and takes off their mind-controlling mask. Jervis is basically sobbing at Batman, saying he doesn't understand this pain. Batman cuffs him, saying, "Yes, I do." We do a later transition of Bruce at the wedding reception where he stands up in a toast. Giving a speech on how he's glad Lex found someone and hopes that Lana can reel in the eccentric. Speech goes on about how the guys like Bruce and Lex, even with their wealth, just can't stand being lonely. As the speech goes on, we intercut it with Metropolis Police finding a cuffed Mad Hatter and a disarmed chemical bomb with a batarang on top of the bomb. Cutting back to Bruce saying the final words of his speech, one that leaves the audience hopeful and happy. As Bruce is driving back to Wayne Enterprises, speaking to Alfred via telephone about how Bruce is thinking on calling Barbara and Dick, try reconnecting with them. But the conversation is interrupted by the destruction of Metropolis via a brawl against Kryptonians. See my previous video, Son of Krypton, for better clarification. Bruce tells Alfred to head down to the secondary Batcave. That there's a service tunnel he can use to escape. As the battle rages on and civilians flee in horror, as Bruce runs towards the carnage, Alfred heads down via elevator. A large tremor shakes the entire building, causing the elevator to stop moving. For a moment, the building doesn't move. Then a sonic boom can be heard. The entire building falls, collapsing. We have a close-up of Alfred's face. He prepares for death. Before we completely fade to white, we hear Alfred's last words. Don't add me to your pain, Bruce. Then we completely fade to white, and before the credits roll, a single line of text appears. It's saying, Bruce Wayne will confront Clark Kent. So tell me what you think, and in brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Until next time, my legion.